Aloha!
Aloha.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And how about you?
It's a good day.
It is a good day.
It's a good day.
Every day is a good day. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
Sunday's a good reminder of that for me.
Yes. So, I know that you asked me to teach Sunday school. And after carefully considering it, I'm willing to be a substitute because we're gone a lot. But even though I've been a teacher for years and years and years, I have some questions about how things work here.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first one, I actually wrote them down so I wouldn't forget them. The first one is very practical. Can you tell me exactly how the Sunday school schedule works, like when and where it starts and how long it lasts?
You're not the only person that has that question. And Sunday school starts at 10:45 in the sanctuary, in the front of the sanctuary. Emily is there, and we get started. People drift in sometimes. Teachers are very much welcome. I know there was a time in my life where I was still Sunday morning during opening, preparing my classroom. We just ask that teachers be down in the sanctuary a little bit before 11 o'clock, and then they will be ready to take their classes, their children back to their classroom.
Okay, and all the classes are on the second floor, right?
Yes,
okay.
Everyone's on the second floor, and here's the thing that's been really, can we start over? I'm sorry. So, anyway, 10:45 is when we start, but classroom time is over at 11:50.
Okay.
And adult education usually goes a little bit longer. We have more talkers in adult education. But some parents are great about coming up, and some parents know that I always go over so that they work with it.
In other words, you have no problem filling the time.
Yeah.
So what would I do with my class if I was done at 10:50 and came down here, and...
No, 11:50.
11:50.
That's okay. 5 minutes, we're done.
It's a rush class. But, no, can I come down and sing with the kids or do something like that?
Absolutely. Some teachers might want to have that be things that they let their parents know. Substitutes, you can come down, sit in the narthex or at the end of the stairs, however you would like to do that. But singing with them is a great way to fill time at the end if you've completed your lesson.
Right. Okay, now, what kinds of lesson materials are provided? I mean, do I have to came up my own lessons?
That's the great thing, is that all of the lessons are prepared. So if you walk into the supply room,
and that is the room across from the office?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's between the choir entrance and the first classroom.
Okay.
And I think it has like supply room actually on there.
Okay.
But yes, that's where it is. And when you walk straight on the countertop is, you'll see 3 boxes on the top shelf and then 2 other shelves with 3 boxes. The ones on the top shelf are what you want to look at. They are divided by grade, so classrooms. So each classroom has their own box. And this one is Intermediate Old Testament. And all you do is, there is a schedule posted up there. Look for the date, and then you can look for which lesson it is. Creation, Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark. So let's say October 7th, I asked you to teach.
Okay.
And you could go in at any time. You don't have, if somebody asks you and they're like, I have a wedding, you can come in and pick up these materials at any time. So I would come in here and look for Joseph and his brothers, and I could count down Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, Joseph and his brothers. And you just pull this manila folder out, and really it has everything you need. There's, tells you what happens in large groups. This is from Spark, and Spark gives you a lot of resources. And we have not only what might happen in opening, but what songs we might sing. Sometimes there's activities in there. And even, this year we have Lesson at a Glance, and we have the, let's see, they're all put together. So there's, wow, there are 4 copies in here. No, there are 2 different lessons in here.
Yeah. It looks fun.
Oh, it's all Joseph and his brothers. So 1 copy is the master copy, and it'll be marked with a highlighter, master. Because then if you photocopy that, it doesn't say anything on there, but you know that we need at least 1 copy to stay. So if you come in and there's only 1 copy, then you need to make a photocopy. But really, this is our first year. So there are copies here, and they will not only tell you different activities that you do, it breaks it up into gathering, open the Bible. It's different for each classroom. But then you also have just a printed one that, like this is an art extra. And so there's different, sometimes there's an art extra, sometimes there's an activity, and then there can be games or coloring pages.
Oh, I see that, yeah.
Yeah.
So Joseph's coat of many colors, you get kids get to color it any way they like.
And my kids love rainbows, so that's always easy. Like this is a wild card extra, which just means it's, instead of, it's just activity, and it might, like this, it tells you what supplies you need, what you need to set up, instructions. It's really well written out. And that's all. Here there are even family. We send home pages for families so that they know, what did my kid learn about this week? If you have a non-talker, or it gives you ideas on things you can do at home, conversations with the younger kids or older kids. And in my classroom, I always like that coloring page, because I do preschoolers, so the coloring page, because they're going to want to take that coloring page, and if I make the copies, I duplex it, so that it's, so that when they remember to take their artwork home, on the back side, it has
oh, that's a good idea.
all of the, everything that they need for their lessons. And if we're practicing a song, sometimes I'll write a little note on there if there's something coming up that we're going to be doing.
Okay, there's a lot to do. Now, what if I can't get to church before Sunday? Can I go online?
You can. In fact, Spark has great resources online, and they actually, we've set up just 1 email and password for people to use.
Oh, that's good.
So it's just our church's email, cross@pro-ns.net, and the password is 2teach. And so it's very easy to get on. You do want to do the children.sparkhousedigital.org. It can be overwhelming if you're not somebody who has a lot of experience searching things, because it is a search format, but you can narrow it down to like what grade you're looking at and what lesson.
Okay.
And
so I would know, for example, if I'm going to be teaching Joseph and his brothers, I just type that in
and just what grade those kids are in, or preschool, whatever it is. that will help narrow things, because they give you a large, they give you a lot to choose from. And some of it's nice to look at if you have the time and want to search out something that sort of resonates more with you than what you have in the file folder.
Okay.
But be prepared that we use Spark, is it Spark Notes or just Spark?
Spark Classroom, I think.
Spark Classroom. But the Spark company has different lesson plans, and you will have the option of looking at those as well. And you can print them out right there.
So you could maybe even get more ideas than if you needed them.
Yes.
Okay, that's good, because, you know, sometimes you come over and the church is locked, and if you don't have a key, you can't get in. Okay, let's just say, this is a real extreme example, but let's just say I'm walking out of church and you see me and you go, "Oh, Diana, somebody didn't show up. Is there any possibility you can teach?" And I'm going, "Sure." What?
And then I would let you know what classroom and what story we're doing. And if I'm not in a panic, I would bring it to you. But otherwise, you just go right up to the supply room. You go look in the correct, you know, preschool, beginner, intermediate, and
I can use the church's copy machine then to make copies of the pictures and stuff like that.
Now on Sunday mornings, they usually keep the office locked. So just for security.
Of course.
So if you're here early, you know you're teaching, then pastor might be in there. Sometimes if you knock, he'll open the door. Or I've talked to the choir director before.
Oh, sure.
And sometimes they're making copies and you can catch them. After church, keep an eye on the lay minister. And when you see the lay minister, they're greeters now, and when you see them going back, say, "Hey, I need to get into the office," because they always go, take off their robes and head up to the office with the offering.
Oh, sure.
So, which is another reason why it's locked.
Yeah. So during coffee hour, I could quickly pull something out.
Absolutely.
It's good to know, because I know sometimes people call in the last minute, they're sick, and you need anybody.
Their child started vomiting in the morning, you know, whatever.
All that stuff. Okay, how many copies should I make for my class?
There is an attendance list, but it's okay if you make extra copies, because we rotate between 3 different series that we have. And so if you make extra copies, just slide them right back into this folder, because when you're done teaching, then what we want you to do is to put all of your lesson material, go back to the supply room, take that manila folder back out, put everything in there. I mean, if you did like a flyer or art project that would fit in there, you know, made an example or something like that, slide it in there. And don't worry if, you know, my copies in my classroom had like notes on them, I folded them a certain way, I circled this, remember to do this. However, mark it all up, because it's not the master copy, but your notes might give the next person who teaches that spark some ideas for them.
Oh, yeah.
So don't worry of the condition, coffee stains, whatever. Don't worry about the condition of that lesson plan. Just slide it back in there. That's why the master copy being pristine and always in there is there. Also because it's, you know, we don't want to have to print those off again.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay, now let me see. Boy, we've covered a lot of stuff already. How about if I've got time and I get excited about it and I think, oh my gosh, Joseph and his brothers, coat of many colors. How about if I decide to do maybe some creative drama or something that is in the lesson? can I create my own thing to go?
Absolutely, because what I find is the thing that you're excited about, you're going to communicate that with the kids, and you're going to be more comfortable with it, and there's no box. We want the kids to come and have fun and learn about God's love and Jesus' love for us. So any way that you find that you want to do that, that's awesome.
So, because I love my drama.
Yes.
So I come in, I start, and we talk about the story. Are there Bibles in the classroom?
There actually is, in addition to the supplies in the supply room, which are your lesson plans, and people think of them as like arts and crafts type of things. There are cabinets in each of the classrooms, and they're made to be locked so that you don't have to worry about them. You don't have to cart things back and forth. So all the Spark Bibles that are appropriate for your age are in your classroom. When you need to get into that cabinet, again, you go into the supply room, you go right in the door and look to your right, and there are all these cute little hooks, and they have keys on there, and the keys are all labeled which classroom it's for. And then, put those back in. Again, you're going to bring your lesson back, you're going to bring your keys back, and actually, this year we're doing like a little caddy so that you can have your scissors and crayons and things like that. Because my cabinet, you can just pull on it, and so during the week I had people come in and just open it because they were looking for something to do, or they needed supplies, and so they just went in there. Which is why
they knew Carolyn was a good one.
Yeah, which is why we're saying, return that stuff if you want to know that it's there. But Bibles we leave there because that's a lot of carting around.
Yeah. Okay. And so we tell the story, or have the kids read the story.
Mm-hmm.
If they're the older kids, they could read. Okay, I think I'm getting a feel for this. It's really not as scary as I thought it might be. What if I can't make it some Sunday when I said I could?
Well, we will be giving all of the teachers a list of who's teaching what classroom, their email address, and their phone number. And if we know it's a mobile phone and they text, you can put text on there. So if you keep that list, and it's also all the substitutes are on there. So if you're a regular teacher, either way, call one of those people if you have time to call those people. If you're not able to connect with someone to schedule that, then text me or any, I don't read my emails.
Texting works.
But for me, it's good for texting, call or text, and the sooner that you can give us notice, the better. Like, don't worry about, calling at a certain hour.
Okay.
Just do that. So, anyone on the board, you or Amy or Sharon Chris, and myself, and we'll get you set up.
Okay. Oh, that's good. I hope that doesn't happen, but we never know. Now, let me see. How many kids can I usually expect? Or what happens if there's only one or none of them come?
Well, it's really good to know that when you plan the lesson, plan it for a small group and try to be ready if there are any situations where there's only one or two kids. I would say, please don't be upset if you plan this awesome lesson and no one shows up. I guess I want the teachers to be aware that sometimes that happens. But take all those great, awesome ideas and put them back in the folder, and please don't be discouraged.
But I could also, say I was supposed to teach first and second graders, I could stop in your classroom if I just wanted to.
Yes, I always need help. I always need help.
Join up with somebody.
And sometimes we do, if it's Sunday morning and something happened, and we do join classrooms sometimes, and then you have to be you kind of have to be flexible here. We're kind of working as we go.
It's a team.
Yes, it definitely is that.
Okay.
But don't be scared, because there are going to be other people there, and when it comes down to the wire, we have always found that there's someone who can take care of that, because we never want, we just want to spread the word to those kids, plant those seeds really early.
Right, that's so important. That's why I'm willing to do it. Well, okay, here's the last question on my list. I've gone through, because this has happened to me, I've gone through the story, we've acted it out, we've done the drawings, we've done the singing, and I look at the clock, and there's 15 minutes left. Have you got some ideas for me in those extra 15 minutes?
Absolutely. Depending on what grade you have, it might change.
Yes.
Like if you're in the preschool classroom, there is modeling clay, because Debbie Walker one time told me that she uses the Play-Doh with the kids, and so they love to do that, and I let them do that during lessons, but they always love to do that. A game or a song works great. With older kids who can read, Hangman is like one of their favorite things to do.
Well, that kills time.
You know, and singing, of course, especially if there's a song that we've been working on. But if you're a substitute, you might not know that. So even if what you're doing is taking a walk through church and going down to one of the stained glass windows and say, who can find the story from our lesson today?
That's a great idea.
You know, and they might, you know, some of those kids know that those are stories up there, and they might not. There's just, you can go outside and pretend that you are, you know, some part of the lesson. I really love to have the kids say, who wants to be whoever is in our story? And sometimes we have to take turns. And sometimes I only have kids who want to be this person or this person. So then I get to do my drama. But you do whatever works for you, even if it's just a name game or Jesus loves me. I mean, as long as our children know that you're happy to be there and you shine your light. So if you have a favorite song from when you were in Sunday school and they don't know it, what a perfect time to share that with them.
Oh, those are all great ideas and make me feel much better. So
I'm so glad.
I'm beginning to really look forward to this.
Hey, you know what I realized? I didn't tell you a couple of things.
Okay.
Okay, I had my own supply room key and then would leave it at home some Sundays.
Yeah.
And I would get here early and I needed to get into the supply room. In my box, over in the little hallway, we used to call it the wailing wall because it's where people would put notes requesting something. But you just look under Board of Education and find Carolyn on that list and dig around in there, and you're going to find the supply room key.
Okay.
And again, just put it back there so that the next Sunday when I get my keys or someone else is, well, here on weeknights.
Yeah.
And they're like, after the kids' confirmation, or, you know, there are lots of times where we know the building is open, even if it's not open for cross Lutherans.
Right.
We have two other churches that here, and so it's easy to get in the door and you know, get to where you need to be.
And when we get the cross currents, Carol always includes a calendar.
Yep.
Which has the other churches on it too, so that gives it a lot of flexibility to get in.
Yeah.
Good.
And if you're fortunate that your schedule allows you to come in during the daytime when the office is open, Carol's awesome, and you know, you can make copies not just on Sunday. Also, if you trying to blank.
This happens to me all the time.
If you are the regular teacher and there's something that you want to hand off, you know, the lesson will be here. This year on the bottom boxes under Board of Education, there will be a box for each classroom. And there will also be a box that says teacher resources, and there will be a handout as well as that list of teachers and substitutes and all their contact information.
Okay.
And our curriculum for the year, so that there are some resources that you don't have to have any keys, you just get in the door, and if someone's going to leave something for you, or if you're leaving for something for someone who is covered for you, and they're uncomfortable about, okay, I have to get in the supply room and do all these sorts of things, you can leave your lesson in that box for them to be able to pick up.
Okay. Boy, this has all been so helpful. And I think I'm ready.
Excellent. Well, I know it sounds sometimes trite to people, but I have found that sometimes I feel like I get more out of the lesson than I'm blessed by the lesson, the experience of being with the kids. Sometimes I think it blesses me more than it does for them. So it's a good thing to do.
It is. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're done.
Yep. In case you ever get that done.